MPC. Good morning, Presidential Spokesperson Secretary Salvador Parelo.
Good morning, I'm ready.
Question, MPC.
Tanungin nyo na lang.
MPC. Pia.
Hi, sir. Good morning. Sir, could you give us details on the meeting between President Duterte and Secretary Mike Pompeo yesterday?
Apparently, you were not listening to the briefing conducted by the State Secretary and Secretary of Foreign Affairs, Teddy Boy Locsin. Sinabi na lahat doon ulitin pa ba natin dito? Talaga kayo, you're not doing your work. Well, anyway, last night, the first message of Secretary of State to the President was President Trump was extending his warm greetings to the President. Number two, we have your back in the South China Sea. That was the message of the President. True ambassador. They discussed, of course, the usual concerns on terrorism and bilateral relations between the two countries. And the President also thanked him for the courtesy call. And the President says overwhelming Filipinos are in favor of the Americans. So he doesn't think he could go against that. So what else do you want to know?
A lot.
Oh, then ask.
Henry.
Oh, he said also that any attack against any vessel of the Philippines will trigger the application of the Mutual Defense Treaty, which means they will support the Philippines.
Henry.
Sir, can you elaborate more yung sinabi ng US or ni Secretary of State Pompeo na suportado nila tayo sa issue ng
Yes.
West Philippines Sea? Can you elaborate?
By just saying that we have your back, that means we are behind you. We will support you.
In terms of what?
Well, first, according to them, if there is an attack on us, then they will be protecting us or helping us in our defense. Number two, they will be providing us with arms.
What about
But not free. We're going to buy it from them. And last night, in fact, the President related to the Secretary of State how he was disappointed when we were trying to buy rifles from them, but some senators opposed it until we were not able to buy it. That's why we have to run to other countries. And in fact, Secretary Locsin commented after the courtesy call, he can't even understand why we're supposed to be allies of the U.S., and the U.S. has been giving arms for free to other countries, and yet we, strongest ally of the U.S., cannot even purchase rifles from them.
So yung suporta ho, it's more of kung sakaling magkakaroon ng giyera between the Philippines and
Yes, if there's
China?
a shooting war, then the U.S. will be on our side.
All right, thank you.
Follow up, Nestor, still on the issue.
Regarding the issue, sir, Foreign Affairs Secretary Locsin said that he personally does not see the need to review the Mutual Defense Treaty. So what is now the position of the government regarding this issue?
You know why he said that? Because this is the first time that the U.S. made a policy statement that any assault attack on any Philippine vessel would trigger the application of the Mutual Defense Treaty. You remember that when the President assumed office and he met with the ambassador from U.S. then, when he was asked, he could not give a categorical answer. In fact, he was saying, if our forces are attacked, then we will respond.
So what is now our position, sir?
Our position is, that position of this is, they will support us, then we will take it.
So you don't...
As an observance of the mutual defense treaty between the two countries.
So the government no longer sees the need to review the treaty, sir?
Since that is the policy of the U.S., so there is no need as of now, unless there are movements that will dispute or that will contradict what the U.S. Secretary of State said.
Isa pa, Nestor.
Sir, just a follow-up. U.S. Secretary Pompeo said it's important for the South China Sea to remain open and called on the Philippines to do its part to make sure this vital sea lane remains free, secured, and that China does not pose a threat to closing them down. So what is now the commitment of the government or the Philippines since the Duterte administration has been criticized for its soft stance regarding the issue?
Remember that the policy on navigation in that area, the president was given the task as coordinator to coordinate with the other countries and craft rules and regulations that will provide the guidelines in the navigation in that area.
Thank
So
you,
the
sir.
Philippines will do its part. But I don't know if, I don't think they have met yet since the time the president was designated as coordinator.
Can you be more clear on that, sir, that the Philippines will, quote, do its part?
Meaning to say, since the president was designated as coordinator, he would do everything in his power to persuade the other countries in crafting rules that will provide us guidelines in the use of the waters of that area.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nestor. Still on the same topic, Joseph. Mike, please. Henry.
So, sir, we're scrapping yung proposal ni Secretary Lorenzana to scrap the MDT review.
Actually, if I recall right, the secretary's comment was based on the fact precisely of that comment of that U.S. ambassador, which even I was surprised by that response, because under the Mutual Defense Treaty, any attack against the Philippines will be considered an attack against the U.S.
So, sir, before kasi ang issue dyan is yung definition ng metropolitan territory and then island nations as it covered the areas in the South China Sea or the West Philippine Sea. So, yun po bang statements nitong si Secretary Pompeo will be binding for the rest of maybe the succeeding administration such that that is enough assurance at hindi siya mababago after the Trump administration na ganun pa rin yung commitment, level of commitment ng US?
Since that is the policy of the U.S. government presently, then that will continue unless the treaty is revised.
So right now, sir, we don't need, we're dropping yung idea of scrapping or even reviewing the MDTS?
I'm sure the Secretary of Defense, Lorenzana, would want to review despite the pronouncement.
So magre-review pa rin, sir, despite these assurances from the US?
Yes, because there may be some kinks in that treaty that need to be clarified.
So, sir, government...
Like what you said, the definition of that area.
No, but si Secretary Pompeo, first of all, we saw the DFA press conference, but we want to know the palace side, yes? All right, so going back to my question, sir. Yun po kasing statement ni Secretary Pompeo seems to also alter na the definition of island territories to include areas in the South China Sea. So yun po bang assurance na yun enough na? And you said that's going to be binding, yes?
Yes, but as you said earlier, it's much better perhaps that it's
Spelled out.
clear-cut in the treaty itself. So I think there's still a need
Two.
to review, despite the policy statement.
All right, so sir, final answer, we need to review MDT.
We will have to evaluate.
Okay, sige sir.
Salamat, Joseph. MPC?
But we are pleased to note that the U.S. has made a policy statement with respect to attacks on a Philippine vessel to be deemed as an attack against the U.S.
Thank you, sir. Ina, same subject matter. Okay.
Hi, sir. Sir, I'm wondering, what did the how did the Secretary of State respond to the President's statements? Yung sinabi mo kanina when he expressed concerns na we planned on buying rifles from them before, and then it was stopped because of some U.S.
Oh, he was nodding his head. Just
Did he
all of
give-
them were nodding their heads. The U.S. ambassador, him, and two others.
Didn't he give maybe an assurance that they will maybe do something to
I
try
didn't-
not
I-
to prevent
I
that?
didn't hear the exact words because I was a little far away from where they were seated. I was, I think, 5 persons away, and there was no microphone. In fact, I suggested to protocol they should be using a microphone so that we will be hearing exactly what they're saying.
Mhm. And then you mentioned also that the Secretary Locsin said na parang bakit hindi tayo binibigyan ng libre. I'm wondering.
That was after. That was after the courtesy call.
kayo na lang
Kaya,
po yun.
kami na lang.
Okay. Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you, Ina. MPC, other matters na? Other topic? Same issue, Maricel?
Sir, on a lighter note,
Yes.
I believe the president has been repeatedly invited by the U.S. government to visit their country. Finally, did he accept the invitation?
No, there was no definite acceptance of the invitation.
But at
But
least
they were joking,
joking about
kidding about no, because I think the Secretary of State was asking whether the wife of the president was able to meet with the First Lady of the U.S. And there was one meeting, right, between the First Lady and last year. Was that last year? APEC. And then I think the president, I'm not very sure, but parang ganun ang dating. Parang sinabi niya, I have 2 wives. Kaya nagtawa na. And then I think the Secretary of State, parang narinig ko siya na, we'll make sure we'll make sure that there will be protocol in meeting these 2 wives. Parang gano'n. Naglolokohan na sila nung ano.
But following the visit of Secretary Pompeo, is the president considering the idea of going to U.S.
Wala
now?
siya sinabi kasi the problem with the president is he cannot stand the temperature in the U.S. Napakalamig eh. Hihirapan siya, tsaka masyadong malayo. Yung mga long haul, ayaw niya eh.
Okay,
But
na,
of
sir.
course, he's very fond of the president. And I remember when the president was talking about what he is doing for this country, pati yung mga controversial na galaw niya, pati yung cursing niya, the Secretary of State said, "You're just like our president." Nitawanan kami. Si Secretary of State.
He compared
Siguro
President
yung style,
Trump.
the style of the president. Yung prangka, walang sinisino, kahit sino pwedeng labanan. Di ba, ganun si Mr. Trump
Thank you,
against all
Maricel.
flags.
Thank you, Sel. MPC, shift na sa ibang topic. Pia?
Sir, other topic. Sir, si Manny Pangilinan yesterday denied that the PLDT owes the government 8 billion pesos. May I ask where the president got his information that the company owes the government 8 billion pesos?
I will ask him because kanina ko rin nabasa yun.
Okay, sir.
Thank you, Pia. MPC question? Joseph?
Sir, sa Marcos Wealth, the president in a speech probably 2-3 days ago said doubts, no, that there's ill-gotten wealth. First off, why did the president say that?
Yeah, I suppose because there is no court case that convicted the late president of any ill-gotten wealth. I don't know of any case filed against the late president
Do you share that opinion, sir?
relative to. Given that, yes, because if there was no case filed against the late president and there is no conviction on the matter of ill-gotten wealth, so how can you say that? I agree with the president on that point.
All right, sir, but can I read into the
Yes,
records? PCGG
yes.
data. There are, as of July 2017, 289 pending cases.
Pending.
Correct.
Okay.
Judgment in favor of the Philippines, 715. Not favor to the Philippines, 2. Judgment not favorable to the PH, final, 12 and 5. Do you want a rundown of the cases? Civil cases, 190. Criminal cases, 67. Admin cases, 7. Amount recovered as of December 31, 2017. This is 171,359,374,369 pesos. These are facts from the PCGG.
I don't know what cases are they referring to, because there are so many cases, and not all cases are ill-gotten. It refers to other cases. But you know, I think what the president is referring to, and I've been saying this too, when I was still outside of the government. The claim is that the Marcoses have stolen billions of dollars worth. If I remember right, they were saying $400-something billion. Now, I use my common sense, and we do not have that kind of money at that time. And then another thing, when I was still with the left as an activist, we used to say that Marcos stole the gold bars. But during the trial of Imelda Marcos in New York, the former central governor Jaime Laya testified that all the gold bars in the central bank were intact. So sabi ko, hindi pala totoo kung ganon. Yung mga pinagsasabi namin nun. And in fact, I confronted Jaime Laya. It's totoo daw. Talagang intact. But when I confronted the late Spinilla, hindi niya raw alam exactly kung nasaan. But to my mind, if the Jaime Laya at that time, who was a witness in the trial, testifying to the effect na maraming gold bars, mas maniniwala ako sa kanya. The question now is, where in the heaven's name did Marcos got those so much wealth? Hindi ba maraming kwento? Merong sinasabing from the Yamasita Treasure, merong sinasabing he was lawyer for the Vatican, and merong nag-abscondon na kardinal, dala yung pera. Maraming kwento about the wealth. The point I'm saying is, since we didn't have that kind of money at the time, and Jaime Laya is saying that intact ang gold bars, mukhang baka yung akusasyon na nagnakaw sila, hindi pa napuprubahan sa parting yun.
Na nagnakaw
With respect to the, if you're saying you stole from me $400 billion and I have only $1 billion, how in heaven's name can you be stealing from me when I don't have that kind of money? Parang yun ang dating. But if you remember, the president was saying that the Marcoses are willing to return yung nakuha na. I mean, na-trace. Di ba? Yan ang sinasabi niya. They're willing to sign an agreement between the U.S. and the U.S. and the Philippines and the family. Pero wala pang nangyayari. Hindi pa na-finalize yun. Siguro yun ang ano ni Presidente, yun ang kanyang perspective doon. Na hindi pa ba sinabi niya na, hindi pa nga natin alam kung sa kanila nga yun o saan galing yun. Yun ang point doon. Kasi nga napakalaki. Nakakalula yung pera, wala naman tayong ganung pera. Magkano ba during the 70s, magkano lang bang pera natin?
So sir, how do you reconcile nga yung sinasabi ni Presidente na hindi pa napapatunayan, there's doubt about the ill-gotten wealth?
Yun na nga sinasabi ko eh. Kung ang claim is, ninakaw niya $400 billion, kung $1 billion lang ang pera natin, paano mo naman sasabihin na, siguro yun ang kanyang perspective.
Pero sir, do you dispute the fact that there have been decided cases as far as the Marcoses directly are concerned?
Ang alam ko, merong mga kaso na kay Imelda yata, hindi kay Presidente.
And the families are one of.
Parang,
Sandigan, yung recent,
ano ba yung reason?
where she's free now because they're appealing the sentence.
Yung Jane Sanders. Ang ruling doon, kung if I'm not mistaken, if she was Jane Sanders and she was depositing certain amounts of money, that is more than the salary when she was still governor. The presumption under the law is ill-gotten yun.
Correct.
Yun ang ano doon. Kaya with respect to that, ang ill-gotten yung dineposit niya na more than the usual salary of a metropolitan governor, Manila.
The point, sir, is they exist. You acknowledge that these cases, decided or otherwise, are existing.
Yan ang kasong lumabas. Desisyon ng Korte Suprema yun.
So how does this blend with the President's doubts?
Tama. Hindi nga yun. Ang aling pinapaliwanag ko rin. Siguro with respect dun sa
Not decided
more than
cases.
ill-gotten yun. Pero with respect dun sa claim na they stole so much billions coming from us, na wala naman tayo nun. Yun siguro sinasabi ni Presidente.
Sige, sir.
Thank you, Joseph. NPC, no more question? Happy week. Okay. Maricel.
Sir, Chinese Ambassador Zhao Zhanhua said that he did not say that Beijing will adopt the tit-for-tat approach once the government deport illegal Chinese workers. Will you
Yes,
please
he's right.
clarify
Because I
the
already
statement?
clarified that, di ba, nung news. Sinasabi ko, it was not in reference to the Philippine government. We were discussing academically what a government will do as a natural consequence of what another government is doing. Like, we were saying, if a government's nationals are expelled, not in accordance with law, meaning to say recklessly, then the natural reaction of another government subject with those subject nationals will necessarily retaliate and apply a tit-for-tat policy. In other words, yung discussion namin more on academics rather than actuality. In fact, when we were discussing that, hindi ba sinabi ko, he added na, I don't think the Philippines will do that. Neither will us do it too.
Shell, number follow-up. Joseph. Same issue, Joseph. Other matters.
Sir, date sa drug war.
Drug war.
For the record, sir.
Now that you mentioned that.
Wow, prepared. I like that.
Ano ba yan? Yung ba yung tinutukoy mo?
Figure, sir. Figure.
Yung figures?
Yes.
Yeah, I have it.
All right, sir, for the record,
Yeah,
How many
Let me
drugs?
just
Okay.
give you the record data from July 1 to 2016. No, from July 1, 2016 to January 31, 2019. Anti-drug operations conducted 119,841. Drug personalities arrested 170,689. Drug personalities who died in anti-drug operations 5,176. Dismantled dens and clandestine laboratories 301. Drug-cleared barangays 11,080. Government workers arrested in anti-drugs 627. Children involved in illegal drug activities and rescued during anti-drug operations 2,016. Total value of shabu seized 25.94 billion pesos. Data from January 1, 2018 to 31, 2019, established Bahay Silangan, 24. Graduates, 150. Employed, 35.
Do you also have, that's the real numbers data, sir, na from the PCO Classic Panag. Do you also have the number of surrenderies na updated?
Of
Surrenderies, sir.
yung update, yung latest,
Yeah.
wala. Ito yung up to January 31, 2019.
All right. Our baseline data, sir, is for the record. How many drug addicts do we have? Because in the beginning, we hear the president 3 million, and then so suddenly, naging 7 million.
No, what
How
he's
much is it?
saying, yung original number is limited to Manila. If you will include the entire Visayas and Mindanao, aabot ng 7 million. Yan ang sinasabi niya. Hindi nag-increase, kundi yun talaga ang bilang.
Ever since, sir.
Yes.
So, 3 million is Metro Manila, 7 million is national figure.
National figure yun.
Ito na, sir, yung
Yun ang,
titindigan natin.
yun ang national figure.
Okay.
And again, as I said, from the briefings that I read every day may buy bus operation all over. In every city, paulit-ulit na nababasa ko. Maraming arrest, may namamatay din pag lumalaban.
MPC? No more question, MPC? Tara. Ina, si Joyce. Joyce, after Joyce, Ina. Other matters. De, kay, kay Marcos, kay Ina.
Sir, just again, a clearer answer lang, sir, yung sa Marcos ill-gotten wealth. So what does Malacañang, how does Malacañang see Supreme Court decisions ordering the forfeiture of Swiss account deposits and other assets? Why would the President raise doubts given these Supreme Court decisions?
As I said, he's referring to the billions claimed to have been stolen from us, which are non-existent. But with respect to those who have been
How can they
traced,
be non-existent, sir?
di ba the claim is $400 billion worth ang ninakaw. Ay, wala naman tayong ganung pera. How can you steal something that you don't have? But with respect
But
dun sa
regardless
na-trace
of-
teka muna, with respect dun sa mga na-trace, which is beyond their salary as President and First Lady, yun ang, under the law, is assumed to be ill-gotten. And
Okay.
papasok yun dun sa kung magkano ang pag-aari natin kasi hindi naman ganun kalaki yung na-trace eh.
Regardless, sir, though, of the questioned amount, for example, there are existing Supreme Court rulings, feature of all $40 million dollars. Siyang nakita ko.
Oh, kita mo, $40 million lang, di maliit lang yun.
And then 658 million in Swiss accounts. Again, these are just some of them.
Yeah. O di, kung yun lang ang mga figures mo, di pwedeng pumasok yan kasi we have that kind of money at that time. So if it is beyond your salary, talagang considered ill-gotten yun. Ang sinasabi nga ni Presidente, sa tingin ko lang, kasi pag-uusapan namin.
Sir, ano ang makukonvince lang ang presidente kung malabas lahat ng 400? Ganun ba yun?
Money earns interest, correct?
Paano?
Kasi you're saying, sir, ang hinahanap ni presidente yung bigger amount na hinahanap. But then, of course, there are different cases and they're accumulating whatever. Are you saying that the president will never be convinced that of the ill-gotten wealth?
Iba naman yung, the matter of the president being convinced na ninakaw nila yung ganong kalaki is another thing. Dun sa the Supreme Court has decided that certain amount of money na na-trace, which is beyond the salary of the two, agree siya doon. Yun ang ruling ng Korte Suprema.
So then why would he say na walang napatunayan po?
Kaya nga sabi ko, he's referring doon sa malaking amount na sinasabing ninakaw. Yun. Hindi yung napatunayan.
Rephrase, sir. Sir, from the president's perspective, does he believe that the Marcoses stole money?
From the president's perspective as a lawyer, whatever the Supreme Court says, we have no choice but to agree.
No choice.
Yeah, regardless of what I'm saying is, what the Supreme Court says is the law. And whether you believe it or not, it doesn't matter. Yun ang batas eh. Kaya dapat gawin natin, sundin natin.
So the answer is forced yes.
Not force yes, but
Yes.
lawyer kami.
Ah.
So pag kami yan ang napatunayan, you have to agree to that. Kung baga talo ka, mali yung kulang yung ebidensya mo eh. You should bow to the majesty of the law.
All right. So given that, sir, why does he keep repeating? Why does he keep poking doubts to that fact?
In reference nga dun sa...
The others.
Dun sa others, yun ang sinasabi ko sa inyo.
Others nga, na not proven pa.
Oo, yun ang sinasabi ni Presidente. Kasi kung makapagsalita rin naman kasi yung mga anti-Marcos, gabundok nga eh. Yung pala
So how much did
gahilap.
they steal from your perspective?
Ha?
How much did they steal?
Hindi ba sinasabi $400 billion ang ninakaw? Ha? $400 billion? Wala man tayong perang gano'n. Tapos sinasabi pa ni Jaime Laya, intact ang gold bars. Yun ang sinasabi ng mga kaliwano, kasama ako dun ha. Ninakaw nila yung mga gold bars. Hindi naman pala.
Okay na. Thank you,
Sir,
Joseph.
you know what happens to a lie when you keep repeating it? It sounds like the truth.
No, it's still a lie.
Okay.
It's still a lie. I mean, if you keep on repeating, it's still a lie. I don't believe in this lie 1,000 times repeated has the semblance of truth. I don't think so. If it's a lie, it's still a lie. If it's a joke, it's a joke.
So we can apply that to the president. So what is the president's statement?
The president doesn't lie. He makes joke, and that is a joke.
Applying this, sir, to the Marcos statements.
Oh, he's not joking there because he's saying na, as I said, from his perspective, you're saying na he stole this billions of billions. So wala man tayong ganung billion. Oh, so he's being truthful. I share his sentiments with respect to that. Now, with respect to others na na-trace and beyond the salary of the two, tama. Ill-gotten. Yun ang presumption ng batas eh.
Sir, dun lang sa last point.
Unless,
Oh.
sabi rin ng batas, unless you can prove that you acquired this from different sources na legit. Like, kung nako mo yan sa Yamasita, legit yun. Except that, you will have to share it with the government.
Yamashita. Okay. Sir, a last point. Yun pong, it was the president who broached up the idea, no? I mean, remember, the presidente, out of the blue, he said, the Marcoses are willing to return You mentioned it in passing kanina, but if we are we going to seriously pursue that? Government. Now we will ask them to return. Because they offered.
O hindi ba, sabi ni Presidente, pag-usapan? Bakit naman ayaw natin? Kasi ang sabi ng pamilya, marami tayong deficit, kailangan natin ng pera.
Correct.
Oh, they're willing to give that kind of money. Na, kung makuha. Alam mo, you cannot get kasi, from what I know, you cannot get the money there sa Swiss. Kasi nangyari yata, ang daming, yung mga dokumento, iba-iba, hindi naman manatitrace kay Marcos eh. Nalipat-lipat na eh.
That's their scheme.
Yes, that was the scheme made. Kaya, kailangan ng consent nung may-ari. Kasi yan ang ngayon ang depensa ng Swiss. Wala sa pangalan ni Marcos. Pero ang sinasabi naman ng Marcos, meron silang ebidensya na sa kanila yon.
They're willing to prove
Kasi kahit na pinag-transfer, alam mo, 10 yung transfer mo. Eh kung meron kang dokumento na nakapirma yung 10 yon na pinahiram mo lang sa kanila, o in trust lang for me, o edi yun pa rin yun. Pero right now, the Swiss governments will never give that. Siyempre, yung pera nasa kanila eh. Kaya kailangan mo pa rin may pag-deal with the Marcoses.
So, paano, sir, to formally, paano? They would have to declare how much they stole?
I don't know. Sila nag-offer, di sila ang gumalaw.
So, dapat sila mag-initiate.
O, dapat.
Should they? You
They
think?
should.
Why?
O, unang-una, as the family says, kailangan nyo ng pera. Kung meron pala kayong pera, willing kayo magbigay, o di bigay nyo.
Para sa bayan, sir.
Para sa bayan. And from what I gather, from close allies of the Marcoses noon, in fact, si Presidente Marcos daw, may ginawang will yan eh. Kasi nga, nakuha niya yung kayamanan, hindi naman sa pagnanakaw, sangayon sa kanya. Kaya, he was willing to give. Parang ang binigay niya lang yata sa pamilya, baka 10% lang, 90% sa bayan. Yun ang mga usap-usapan noon, during the 70s. Nung mamamatay na siya.
May mga congressional action ba na kailangan, sir, yan? Or is it going to, ano ba to? Anong parang in a legal perspective, how is this going to shape up?
Oh, hindi naman. Pwedeng may compromise agreement pag with respect to pending cases.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Joseph. Maraming salamat, Joseph. MPC, last 3 questions na tayo. Marcos yung sa'yo, Celerina. Sige, Celerina, after Celerina, Henry, then Joyce. Joyce, last.
Sir, I just want to quote yung decision ng Supreme Court in 2003 regarding that Swiss account. Sabi niya, dun sa decision mismo, the Swiss deposits which were transferred to and are now deposited in escrow at the Philippine National Bank, the estimated aggregate amount of 658,175,373 and 60 centavos dollars to as of January 31, 2002 plus interest are hereby forfeited in favor of the petitioner, which is the Philippine government. So apparently the money is here in the Philippines as escrow. So would you not consider it as huge amount na ninakaw ng mga Marcoses?
It's a huge amount in that sense. But what I was saying earlier, kung 600 million, i-compare mo sa $400 billion, din malit yun.
But still,
Ano? Wala naman tayong, there is no dispute that if it's beyond your salary, annual salary, that is assumed to be ill-gotten. Unless, according to the law, you can explain where did you get the money legitimately. Yun.
but don't you think it's just logical for the president not to say those words na apparently nga creating doubts, especially to the new generation, if they would not know what happened in the past?
No naman, it's not, because like now, I'm explaining to you from what perspective he's talking. Maintindihan na rin nila yan. Basta
Thank you,
he's
Senator.
not questioning the Supreme Court decision. Kung ano yung decision ng Korte Suprema, yun na yun.
Thank you, Celerina. Joseph, kay si Henry muna, pagkatapos si Joyce. Last question. Go, Henry.
Secretary, ano ho ang pagkakaiba ng ninakaw na malaki at ninakaw na maliit?
No, but we're not in the matter of whether it's small or big. What I'm saying is, if you're claiming that you steal from me $400 billion, and when I have only $1 billion, how can you say now that you stole from me so much? Yun lang ang pwede mo nakawin sa akin. Yun, palagay ko yun ang perspective ni Presidente. Hindi yung with respect to walang problema dun sa decision ng Korte Suprema. What the Supreme Court says is, pag yan more than your salary, ill-gotten yan under the law. Unless you prove. They never naman introduce evidence kasi they never participated. O kaya, the presumption is ill-gotten yun. That's why, isi-sequester natin. Kaya naka-escrow.
Ang gobyernong ito, ang administrasyong ito ay naniniwala na o hindi na ang mga Marcos ay may ninakaw.
Bakit hindi maniniwala kung yun ang desisyon ng Korte Suprema?
So
But with respect dun sa claim na bilyon-bilyon ang ninakaw, medyo malabo yun. Pero with respect dun sa natukuha na, because that's beyond your salary, ill-gotten yan. Yan ang presumption ng batas. You never introduce naman evidence na sa'yo yan, coming from other legitimate sources. So we will believe what the Supreme Court says.
How can you dispute yung observations and perhaps opinion na the palace, you, are lawyering for the Marcoses?
What's that again?
Yung paano po ninyo ipaliliwanag yung mga obserbasyon na kayo, ang palasyo, ang Pangulo, you're lawyering for the Marcoses in that matter?
Kasi nga hindi nila naiintindi yung point of view ng Presidente. Ang point of view lang ng Presidente with respect to other billions na sinasabing hindi pa napapatunayan yon. Unang-una, paano mo mapapatunayan yon? Wala naman tayong ganun pera. But with respect to those cases decided by the court, walang question doon. No questions, no. Yun na yun As far as the Supreme Court is concerned, that has been stolen money because it's beyond your salary.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Henry. Joseph, si Joyce. Joyce, last question. Joseph. Okay.
Sir, just a quick follow-up lang po or confirmation lang. Kung natanggap na ni President Duterte yung enrolled bill abolishing the Road Board Regulatory Agency, I believe it is already transmitted February 8.
Wala pa akong info nun with respect to that.
Okay, but will the President most probably sign the enrolled bill
Dun sa-
abolishing the Road Board?
Oh yes, because that was his policy then.
Thank you, Joyce. Last question, Joseph. Mike, please.
Sir, help me. Because I've been trying to Google your figure, 400 billion. What is the basis for the 400 billion again?
Ayoko, yan ang sinasabi namin.
Ewan ko.
Yan ang palagi ko nababasa na billions of dollars ang ninakaw.
Kasi sir, naka-ankla yung mga responses niyo po dun sa, basically what you're saying is you cannot steal more than I owe.
Yes.
More than I own, correct?
Yeah.
But your 400, is it grounded in fact?
That was the claim.
By...
That's what I read ever since. Na ganun kalaki yung
Share the
ninakaw.
readings, please, because... This is dollars or pesos?
Dollars.
Sobra naman ng
Oo.
$400 billion.
Di ba kaya nga daw maraming kwento dyan sa Marcos Wealth na yan.
Yeah, but-
malaman ko anong totoo dyan.
No, that's why truth is important.
Oh, pero what is clear to me
Okay,
and to
sir.
the President is, there are cases decided by the Supreme Court and that's it. It's final. So if the Supreme Court says, yeah, as far as this government is concerned, your wealth is beyond, as far as those who have been traced, beyond your salaries. Kaya ill-gotten yan. Kaya we'll get that. Yun.
Again, the 400 came from
Anong 400 gram?
your figure.
Yung 400 billion, matagal ko nang naririnig yun. Nung 70s ko pa naririnig yun eh.
Nag-earn na ba yan ng interest, sir? From the 70s, nag-earn ng interest.
400 billion kasi nga, kaya nga sinasabi ng iba, hindi, Yamashita Treasurer. Yamashita Treasurer kasi yun.
Oh, lang, sir.
Hindi naman po yung guni-guni.
MPC. Maraming salamat, MPC. Maraming salamat, Presidential Spokesperson, Secretary Salvador Panelo. Balik tayo sa Radyo Pilipinas at PTV4.